Professor Sobiak Ladawaska said, quote, "At first I thought it was a blood clot," unquote. But the truth was more surprising. The two scientists of Białystok, who for their own independent investigations made use of the most modern optical microscopes and the transmission electronic microscope, have reached the same conclusion. Professor Sulkowski did not know that the sample which he was examining was a host. The sample examined was neither a clot nor blood. It was a human cardiac muscle tissue that was still alive. And, something even more incredible, it was a cardiac muscle with typical indications of the final phase that precedes death. And yet, several people, who not only have never analyzed the material, but they have never seen it with their own eyes, have affirmed that the red color of the host is due to prodigicin, a red pigment produced by a bacterium. Quote, "Obviously, this is absurd," unquote, affirmed the specialists of Białystok, who also, because the material observed correspondence to cardiac muscle and not to bacterium. The scientists of Białystok have analyzed the sample taken in purely scientific terms to counter these objections. Several accusations were even more absurd, like the one put forth by the group of so-called, quote, rationalists, unquote, according to whom the tissue analyzed pertained to a murderous man. The professors reacted with a statement in which they expressed, quote, a profound indignation for the fact that the principal opinion was led to error by false pseudoscientific hypothesis of the analyzed phenomenon, above all on the part of people who ignore the particulars relative to the analysis, who have neither access to the material analyzed nor to the documentation collected, and who often do not even know the analytical techniques applied, unquote. The drafting of the protocol on the part of the two scientists of Białystok required 2 weeks. When the Curia of Białystok became aware of the incredible results of the analysis, it formed a special ecclesiastical commission convened by the Archbishop on March 30th, 2009. His task consisted in examining the miracle from the theological point of view and listening to all who had seen the host or who had been witness to those extraordinary events. The commission also had the task of dispelling any doubt of deception and of ascertaining that no one has furtively substituted the host in the tabernacle. The representatives of the commission, the distinguished professors of the seminary of Białystok, interrogated all of the witnesses, verifying the sincerity of their testimonies. The work undertaken by the ecclesiastical commission has produced the following statement, quote, the host from which the sample was taken for the examination is the same one that has been transferred from the sacristy to the tabernacle of the chapel in the rectory. The intervention of strangers was not observed, unquote. This was, moreover, categorically excluded also by the two scientists of Białystok. It was not possible that someone placed a fragment of a human body in the tabernacle. What made one think so? The fragments which composed the host were tightly interconnected to the fibers of the human tissue. They penetrated each other, as if a fragment of bread had suddenly transformed itself into body. It is not possible to manipulate an event of this type. No one, absolutely no one, would have been able to do it. Quote, even the scientists of NASA, who have at their disposal the most modern analytical techniques, would not be able to artificially recreate such a thing, unquote, affirmed Professor Sobiak Ladawaska, adding that this fact has been for her of particular importance.